it go. Like I just press start right now. So we'll just go. Okay. Notes, open things up, anything out and around and up and moving and wherever else, and go to the right spot and notes and your writing and whatever. Eventually we're going to get to whiteboards, but for now you don't need whiteboards. All your fancy schmancy computers that you all have now, except for Solomon and I. And I'm okay with that.
Smart ones. We're not downgrading.
Good point. Good point. So, last thing. Can somebody remind me the difference between invention and innovation? James, what's the difference between invention and innovation?
Totally original, brand new idea.
Yeah.
Innovation is taking something someone's already done and improving it.
Try it again. Can somebody else help me with the first part was right? Can somebody else help define innovation? Yeah.
Innovation is taking that new and unique idea and bringing it into the market.
Okay. Try again, James. What's the innovation? Okay. All right. And what's the difference between an inventor and a product champion? Product. Remember those two? Somebody tell me the difference, Alex?
Yes, Brad, tell me.
Yeah, exactly. Versus inventor. Perfect. Did everybody hear that? Okay, too bad. You should know the difference between product champion and inventor. Okay? So last thing is marketing specifications. I don't know why this is kind of at the end because it's a little bit different, but actually I might know. So it's all about, sorry, this, excuse me, every YouTube. I have to clear my throat. I'm going to have some water too. So those of you following at home, you can probably skip ahead about a minute or so because, anyway. So marketing specifications. Now that we have all this stuff, you've got all this information, you know what you want to do and where it's come from, who's made it. Now you need to apply it to the actual product. So what marketing specifications do is take all this information about markets and apply it to the product, okay? So what it is kind of creating these parameters for this creative design or this idea. Design specifications and marketing specifications create these kinds of parameters. So definition, target market specifically. It's about the people, let's see. Now, here, I'll try to explain it more clear. So there's a market, and then there's a target market, right? So the actual market is where your product exists in the market. The target market is who you're trying to sell to. Your audience. There's two differences. We'll talk about those in a little bit. But then they're divided into market sectors and market segments.
Those are very simple words.
Yes, so be careful, okay? Pay attention. So market sectors. Within this market, you have all of these different types of sectors. Consumer goods, travel, entertainment, energy, healthcare, finance, media. There's all these different segments that you can sell your product to, okay? You have a different sector. Does that kind of make sense? All of these different sectors? Then within those different sectors, you have segments. And these segments can be divided up based on geography, based on behavior, based on demographics, and based on psychological factors. So these big things exist globally, but then we can start dividing them up smaller into segments. So it goes sectors, segments.
You said the sectors are global?
Yeah, they're big. Yeah, okay? Market segments start to be more organized, more detailed information. So, for example, it's kind of saying the same thing, but just giving you more details or information about it. So how you can divide it up based on geography, demographics, psychological factors, and behaviors. Those are the big four things that differentiate the sectors from the segments. Okay? Do you see how it just kind of divides like this graph here? You have the market. I should make a better graphic. I don't like that graphic, but now that I'm looking at it. But the markets exist, and the sectors and the segments are different. Okay? It's just a way to define things a little bit more. So here's the definition. Broad way to categorize the kind of markets that a company is aiming for, and the segment is divided up into smaller segments based on characteristics and tastes. Okay? Should make a better graphic. Maybe I'll make you make a better graphic. That's a good idea. Okay? So then once you have that within that target market, there's those different segments. Then there's also what's called a target audience. Okay? This can be confusing as well too, the difference between target markets and target audiences. So if you look at the use of the product and the influence on the product selection, maybe less about retailer or producer, but just to understand, the people who use the product more often, like a toy, are going to be children, right? So that's the target market. Versus the audience is the people who are going to buy it. So if you're going to advertise for toys, you would want to advertise to the parents, even though the market is for kids. Because ultimately, who's going to buy it? The parents. Okay? Exactly. Another example is men's cologne. Right? I look at this image, and the first thing I see is it actually looks, I don't know. It looks more like it's feminine in some way with the sparkly lights and things like that and colors. So another example could be that even though it's men's cologne, the audience could be females who want to buy it for a man. Yeah. So it could be, that's another example of that audience versus the market. Okay? Everybody following at home? Okay, good.
No.
You'll figure it out. So,
Oh, well,
you know what I mean.
it's this one.
Segments and audience. Yeah? Is that one good enough? Oh, so within the different segments, there is also a target audience. Yeah? So this segments help define, it's just helping define this more specifically. So you can go back and look at geography, demographics, psychology, behaviors, and then you can start to define it even more with audience. So they can, and it's called, later on in the next topic, it's called profile. So you can create like a profile of somebody based on who your audience is or who that specific person. Create this fictitious person. But we'll talk about that in the next topic, okay? So to use them, there's specifications. This is talking about the design. So there's design specifications for a product, and there's marketing specifications for a product, at least according to the IB, okay? I feel like that's the sub thing, just in case there's any problems. But design specifications are about the actual product. There's this thing called MumSpaces or Access FM. Has anybody heard of those before? Have you ever seen those before, Austin, in your last school? So what it is, it looks at things like aesthetics. It looks at things like sizes. It's more about the design of the product. The market is specific. Marketing specifications are specific to the market, audience, market, user, and competition. So just so you understand, design specifications. Peeler. If you go to Amazon and you see all these technical specifications, that's your design specifications. It's this list of, okay, here's the size, here's the color, here's the finish, here's what I need, here's this special feature, here's this dimension, here's the weight. That's design specifications. Versus marketing specifications. If you looked at that same peeler, you can start to divide up the specifications for the market. So the sector, consumer goods, kitchenware, segment it even more. It could be specifically housewives in the US. Down, the audience is the same as the target market. So it's housewife in the US with arthritic hands. So even more specific. Yeah? And what are the user needs? Comfort and easy to use. They have this big story on their website about how they want to do it. And then Amazon actually also shows the competition as well too. So whenever you create something, you can see these different prices, how much, what are other people's reviews, what do they say. So that's the difference between design and market. Everybody understand? If not, ask me a question into the speaker. Okay? This is the way that
Leave them in the comments below.
microphone, what?
If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below.
Oh,
Also, remember to like and subscribe and hit that bell to get a notification every time I post a video.
ding! Did you hear that? Everything that Philip just said. Thank you. So this is the way that the IB defines them. Yeah, they have these different definitions for the market specifications. Okay. So more describing market analysis. What other products do people want? How much? Why would they buy them? How are they going to buy them? Looking at all of the stuff that happens within the market, and then help define that. User needs. So what do these people want? And there are ways to find out user needs. Amazon has all those reviews, or you could do things like focus groups, surveys, case studies, observations, interviews, etc., etc. That's a way to find user needs. Competition, so you can always find out the difference between one or the other. Who else is out there that's selling the same product at the specific price? At what price? Then you can define your price. Did you ever know that, there was always that Pepsi Coke challenge? Have you ever known what the Pepsi, how they like trick people in the Pepsi and Coke challenge?
I know about the bowl awards.
No. Do you know how they trick the Pepsi or Coke people? So a long time ago, they always had these commercials about Pepsi, Coke, which you like best, which don't you like best. And I think Pepsi always won. But the way that they said they could have done it, they always did it during summertime when it was really hot. And they put two up next to each other. Coke was on the left, Pepsi was on the right. Most people are right-handed, right? So which hand do most people drink with? Their right hand. And it's a hot day, so cold drink versus not so cold drink. Which one is more refreshing? The cold drink. So that's why everybody picked Pepsi instead of Coke.
Color as well.
They're blindfolded. Okay? So, what I want you to do, and I'll pause this. There's other examples on this slideshow. But what I want you to do on a whiteboard is you're going to find a product and either create or find its marketing specifications. These are the questions that you'll use to try to answer that. Okay? Pick a product, any product, sketch it out on the whiteboard, and try to create or find those marketing specifications. Got it? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe.